This is us taking our boat for its maiden sail. We are finally having fun on this boat, not fiberglassing and not fixing something. I even get a crash course on how to sail my own boat. So the gray is the water, right?
Oh my God.
I'm kidding, I know. Stick around to the end of the video to share this epic moment with us where we finally use this boat for what it was meant for.
This is the life that I've been waiting for.
But first, let's go back a little bit, because there was one thing preventing all of this from happening. Our rigging, which are all the steel cables that keep the mast from falling over. We had to loosen all of the shrouds so we could straighten the hulls and fix the boat.
3 layers of tabbing, 2 layers along the face. I think we did it. Woo!
And today we're gonna tighten it all back up.
Need to tighten these a little bit more.
In the last video, we had just splashed the boat back into the water after a year in the boatyard. But we were stuck at the boat lift because I didn't know how to drive the boat.
The Parlay boys are here to help us because we don't know how to drive our boat. Thank you for coming.
How is it going?
Awesome.
Not so awesome. Turns out I painted too far up the sides of the boat.
Painted half of the boat blue.
Why is he laughing? Is the water line too high?
Yeah, the water's meant to be at the same level as the blue.
Where's the water line? Did I make the water line too high?
Yeah.
Did you change the water line?
I may or may not have changed the water line a little bit.
You marked it. It's too high.
Well,
Too
it
late.
is what it is, and we're not sinking, so now we just need a little bit of help docking the boat.
You need the anchor.
Okay, let's do that.
This is our very undersized 55-pound anchor. It's what came with the boat and works great as long as there's no wind or waves.
We're just putting the chain and the anchor on the pallet so it's easier to fork over there. 2 meters on starboard.
What you really need for a 45-foot catamaran is a 105-pound anchor like this Mantis here that we have waiting for us back in Texas. Colin is feeding the chain around the windlass, which is just a fancy name for anchor winch, and into the chain locker where you have to remember to tie it off, or you risk losing all of it one day when you forget and put out too much chain.
Oh, it works.
All right, anchor is in.
I know how to do that.
For sure.
Good job, baby.
Thanks.
I need to be honest here. Colin is driving the boat and Jamie's pushing us off the dock, and I'm pretty much just trying to look like I know what I'm doing. Pull on these lines a little here, move the fenders a bit there. Of all the challenges we've faced in our time here, my biggest fear wasn't the broken bulkheads or the fiberglassing. It was how the hell I was going to move the boat to the slip after we splashed, because I never got a chance to learn how to drive. There's no way I could have done this without them. Thanks again, boys.
Look at who we're next to again. Parlay. We're neighbors again.
So we got Mike Barker. That's it. He's the rigger that did Parlay's rig. If he's good enough for Parlay, he's good enough for us.
Even more to the
No,
point, Parlay's rig has now been standing for 2 weeks and hasn't fallen over.
And they did some crazy sailing all the way to San Blas and back, and they raced Delos, and they beat Delos. And after we get our rig tension, we'll be able to beat Delos as well, as long as I learn how to sail.
What are we looking at here?
We're just looking at the column of the mast.
Okay.
From this angle, obviously, we're just looking to see that it is in fact a straight line. That's all we're looking for.
Okay.
So if we look at it, the mast from this angle,
Uh-huh.
we're looking to see a reasonable fair curve. Now, you'll notice that the whole top of the mast is actually aft of the base of the mast, which is about where it should be. All that you're going to see for the next 20 minutes, half hour, is just grunt. It's really not worth photographing. All I'm going to be doing is tightening those.
Okay. That one out there is the shroud.
The big
and
one's the
this
shroud,
one is
and
the
this
lower
one's called
shroud.
is a lower shroud. Talking to Captain David here, that's what he would recognise.
I might call it something else because I tend to forget. I call it a baby shroud sometimes. The big shroud and the baby shroud.
Oh, yes.
We'll go with what Big Mike says, okay?
Definitely heard.
I learned that rigging is a lot more art than it is science. This is my fine art collection in Lego. I'll show you this in a minute. And this is my Lego catamaran that I rigged up identically to our Lagoon 450. Cap shrouds, lower shrouds, forestay, and even double diamonds, which is what gives the mast the bend that Mike was talking about. Colin from Parlay is actually replacing all of his rigging this week, so if you want to see some super technical stuff, check his channel out.
But it's not rocket science either, as you guys are going to see. I really shouldn't be saying that on camera, should I?
He said that so many times. Rigging isn't rocket science.
First thing I'm going to tighten is I'm going to take all the slack out of your cap shroud.
Okay.
I might need your help because you know I'm a one-armed rigger.
He's got a broken arm. He's climbing rigs. It's crazy. He's got a fake knee. I don't know how he does it.
He also had a really bad hernia, but it didn't stop him from going to the top of the mast.
So if you just hold it sort of there.
While we tighten this cap shroud, let me tell you about this art collection here. We've got Scream, Girl with Pearl Earring, Mona Lisa, Van Gogh, and as of last week, Mary and I are the proud owners of this Picasso and this Banksy. Seriously, we actually own part of these two paintings. And we did it through this company called Masterworks, who was kind enough to sponsor our video today. So now I do two things that rich people do. I own a yacht, although there's no walls in the cabins down there, and I collect fine art. Just two.
Parts of two.
Okay, fine, parts of two. But I'm sorry, Colin, do you own any fine art?
You know, rigging really is not
Rocket science.
Not rocket science, yes, am I right?
And apparently investing in art doesn't have to be either. Masterworks allows you to buy fractional shares in works of art from legends like Monet, Banksy, Andy Warhol. After every adjustment, we go to the middle of the mast and we look straight up and see whatever we just did. It looked the same to me every single time, but Mike could see it and he was so confident, so I just pretended I could see it too.
You can actually see it?
I do see it bending to the right, in the middle. Am I right?
You are correct.
I'm not here to give you investment advice. I'm barely qualified to give you boat fixing advice, as you can see with this rigging here. But we invested in art because we wanted something that wasn't so tied to the stock market and could protect against inflation. I know it's all fun and games on this channel, but believe it or not, I do worry about college tuitions. Yes, tuitions. And retirement, just like everybody else.
Doing things in small increments means that should you make any error, your error will also be very small, and I think that's very important in rigging.
We definitely made a bunch of small adjustments and went back and forth, back and forth. It took about 2 hours.
Hey, Mary, who am I? Who am I?
I'm sure they're shooting him, not taking care of.
Bear.
Why don't you put the gun down?
You don't want none of this, Bear. Get out of my way.
Just
Trying to give my man a head start.
That's all.
And what you're going to do, of course, is turn this one this way.
Masterworks has 300 paintings in their collection, 800,000 users, and every sale to date has delivered a positive return. And even the worst performer still made 4% return per year. All this cranking I'm doing here was the easy part. The hard part is knowing when to stop, because over-tightening a catamaran can be really bad.
Working on the baby shrouds now.
Which are these right here. Over-tensioning can actually be worse than under-tensioning, because since the cats are so wide, these shrouds have so much leverage that they can actually bend and break the boat without you even knowing. See this? This is exactly what happened to our boat.
We have one cabinet door that's kind of the canary in the mine shaft that tells us if the boat is out of alignment at all. This is the one that would get stuck right here. But right now, we still have about 3 mils of clearance. So that tells me these floors haven't bent at all.
Yay!
If you happen to be in the market for a Monet, or if you're looking for an alternative investment for all that boat money you've been setting aside, consider supporting our channel and using our link below to check out Masterworks. Investing in anything can be super risky, like this boat that took an extra $30,000 and a year to fix, so please do your own research.
Can you make that out?
I can't see it. I want to say I can see it. As we tighten the port side baby shroud, it pulled the middle of the mast back, which actually shortened the distance of these shrouds. That's why this side is looser. I was thinking that as we tighten that baby shroud on the port side,
pull
that
everything over that side.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. But no,
doesn't happen.
that's not how it works. Okay, and that's why you need a pro with you.
We basically just went back and forth between those 4 shrouds until Mike was happy.
Can you just give me a hand with the winch, pulling Big Mike up the mast, and then I'm gonna fly the drone and I'm gonna circle Mike as he checks out our rigging up there.
Big Mike had to go up that 76-foot mast with a broken arm, fake knee, and a hernia, but he was meticulous up there. You're going to see it go down in a 5-second montage, but just know he spent an hour up there checking every connection and cable.
He is so high up there. Oh my gosh. That's gotta be so scary.
The actual rigging itself, the quality is actually good. There's nothing wrong with any of it.
Don't forget the beer. This is the most important part, all right?
Cheers, guys. I'll see you shortly.
Thanks, brother.
Did he do all of that for free?
No, we're gonna give him some money.
Oh, you all
He
for
would.
dinner. That's why I was like,
He would. Our bulkheads are fixed. Our boat is in the water, and our rig is tight. This was the most scary part for me, because if we do it too tight, we break the bulkheads again. If we do it too loose, it's not safe. Everything worked out. Parlay was here to help get us to dock. Mike was still in town, help us fix all the rigging.
Life is good. Whether we're in the van or on a boat, as long as we're together, life is perfect.
It is, isn't it? Family. Where's my family, by the way? We just changed the fan belt on this port side engine. This is the reason why we lost the engine yesterday. It's also the reason why our tack was off. It's also the reason why this alternator wasn't charging. The engine turns the alternator via this belt, also the water pump, and that's how you get your tack. The tack is apparently inside the alternator. I had no idea, but that guy over there, he taught me. I got a step-by-step tutorial on how to change out that belt down there, and then we did it on the other side as well. So we're gonna check the engines now and see if that fixed it. We got a nice clamp meter. We'll look at the tacks. Hopefully the engines are good and we can go for a test sail.
Party time. Why don't you tell everyone why it's important to make sure these alternators are charging?
The thing is, when you have 300 watts of solar, if that, you really need to be able to charge your batteries up.
Dave's planning to come to Bacchus with us, but that means he's untying from the dock. When you're not connected to shore power, you're relying on all of your own systems on the boat to make sure that you have enough power, and one of the means is the alternators on the engines, and if those aren't charging, then you've got to rely on other things like generators. He's only got a portable generator, and that's got to run a charger, but you don't even know if those chargers work, do you?
No. About to find out.
First and foremost, we'll make sure that we've got alternators to charge. He's got two 130 watt panels. You got those charging during the day, that's good, but overnight you're relying on your battery bank. If your battery bank's not good, which I don't think yours is, you might have to fire up the engine for a couple of hours every evening. So all of this stuff's super important for living at sea, because you're no longer living in a dock, you're living on the ocean.
We're gonna live on the ocean. You heard that? The ocean?
So this should come up to 600-700. We were staying at 0 before.
Oh, okay.
The belt was just slipping so much, which means that our alternator wasn't spinning at all. So we'll let that warm up for a second, and then we'll take it up to like 1500 RPM. We want to see 1500 RPM, and then we'll go down to the alternator, clamp that on, and that'll tell you exactly how many amps are coming out of the alternator to the battery bank.
Pushing in this button on the side allows you to rev the engines up without going into gear and spinning the props.
Yeah, I can hear that's about 1500 RPM, and it's reading about 1600 RPM. So we'd hope we're getting charged now.
So we're gonna check the panel.
13.5. We're charging the house bank. We're charging that start battery.
But that only tells us the volts. Now we're gonna use the multimeter to clamp the wires and see how many amps the chargers are putting out.
All right, so we have 60 amps coming in right now. 60 amps
times 13.5 volts is 810 watts, about what it takes to run a single AC unit for one of the cabins, which we don't have.
It's happening. Could it be better than this to have the Parlay boys hanging out? They've been my family for the past year, and I get to do my first sail post bulkhead with them. It's
epic.
Oh, epic.
The rigging was done, the engines were fixed.
So far, so good.
And we had the most epic sail ever, is what I would have said if the port engine didn't die 10 minutes later.
It's been running this whole time. Started again.
So, having problems with the port engine. We're trying to work it out. It starts, cranks a little bit, and then dies. Colin thinks it might be a split hose that's sucking in some air.
Did I mention that Colin has over a decade of experience as a chief engineer on super yachts? Well, it definitely showed because he narrowed it down to a fuel problem within minutes.
Look at that.
That's not enough fuel.
He popped off a hose to test the flow, and sure enough, it was coming out as a dribble.
I got belts, I got hoses, I've got spare filters, we got a spare fuel pump.
Then he swapped out the fuel pump and had me change a hose that looked a bit questionable. We checked it again.
Look at how much fuel is coming out now.
Hey Jamie, fire up!
We were up and running in 15 minutes.
It's working! Woo!
And we got back to the helm just in time to discover that I had forgotten to reattach the halyard that we used to raise Big Mike up the mast. So I'm swinging around on the mast, holding on for my life, trying to time the perfect moment to dive for the line.
Grab it now. Hey, grab it now. Watch out for your ass. Don't watch out for your head.
And everyone below is trying to backseat driver the whole situation. And I finally get it, but the advice keeps on coming.
Careful, man. Be careful.
Yeah. Thanks. Oh my gosh, that was terrifying. That was so scary. But there's so many people watching. All right, let's sail.
There's something special about learning how to sail with a boat full of people cheering you on. I wasn't half bad either, with Colin in my ear. Turn into the wind, pull up the mainsail, veer off the wind, pull out the jib, and then my absolute favorite part.
All right, we're turning the engines off.
We are officially sailing.
Then I learned how to read the charts and navigate the reefs.
So the gray is the water, right? I'm kidding, I know.
Oh my God. How do you feel?
I feel wonderful. This is what I've been waiting for. This could be like this every day.
Just gotta learn how to sail it, that's all.
Hey Barry, it's your turn to land now. Up the front.
Boo, you didn't even go. We're at anchor. Can you believe we're at anchor? We had a little sail. Jamie taught Mary how to anchor. We're just hanging out here at Isla Grande. This is the first time that we've taken this boat out, and I can't put into words how exciting this is. I wish you guys could feel what I'm feeling. Subscribe.